Hello, peace and blessings and a lot of love and good vibes to you. I hope that this video makes you well. I'm going to be talking in my soft voice because it's early Saturday morning. It's 5:49 a.m. Saturday morning, August 2nd, 2025. It's 53 degrees, so it's a little chilly. And honestly, I did not want to make another video this weekend. I didn't want to make any videos this weekend. I really wanted to have my weekend, but at the same time, there was such a heavy energy. Such before I went to bed last night, there was so much. I had thought so many things and screenshot so many things, and there was some news that by the time Monday come around, that would be old news. But there were bits and pieces of information that I wanted to document and wanted to share, even though I am not quite sure who I'm making these videos for, why I'm making these videos, what's the purpose of making these videos. Part of my mind is like, I'm making these videos to, practice doing this, to finding my voice, to finding the balance between the physical and the physical and the spiritual, the external and the personal, the external and the internal world, and having to learn how to find my balance, how to navigate, how to find my voice, how to create the kinds of videos, the kinds of material that I want to put in the world, the kinds of energy I want to put in the world. And I realized that not many people do videos the way I do videos. I don't actually think there's anybody that does it the way I do it. I do it uniquely, uniquely my way. I don't even know if this is gonna work. It's just the way that I feel called to do it. It's weaving and threading knowledge and information and observations and opinions and ideas, threading it into one basket, into one design, bringing it together as one story. Where people do a lot of separation. People focus on one topic at a time, focus on one area at a time, make shorter videos. I do a longer video weaving so many things together, weaving so many thoughts and ideas and concepts together, and trying my darndest to make it clear and understandable to people who are watching my videos. And it's very challenging to do, and I have no idea if it's working. I personally think that the videos that I make are good. They obviously can be improved, and I believe with time and practice they will be improved. But at this time, they're good. They're good enough to be watched. They're good enough to be seen and discovered and appreciated. And like I said, there was so much stuff that I collected, my digital clippings, like screenshot and took mental note of, and had thoughts about last night, that I felt called to make a video, even though I'm not sure if this video is going to come out this weekend, because I had videos that I still want to edit and put out that I was going to possibly put out this weekend. I don't know. I have so many videos because the energy is high. The moment is chaotic. The moment makes absolutely no sense. One of the thoughts that I went to bed with last night is that, honestly, I can't tell who's winning. I know that we are in a battle. I know that we are in a battle, a struggle for the future. It's a battle between the light and the dark, battle between right and wrong, hate and love, good and evil. The duality, in which I talked about in a video that I shared on TikTok, where I said I'm not interested in the duality. But it seems as though, even though I'm not interested in the duality is interested in me. I personally, and I've said this on numerous occasions, personally would just want to be a light within the light. Not a light in the darkness, not a star in the night sky. I don't want to shine. I don't want to stand out. I want to shine, but I want us all to shine. I don't necessarily want to stand out. I just want to live and enjoy my life and be happy to be alive and experience things and appreciate things and love things and discover things and enjoy things and talk about things and meet my people and develop friendships with people, and I just want to live a full, beautiful life. You know, I don't want to live this kind of life where I have to constantly balance the dealing with the darkness, pushing the darkness away in order for me to stand in the light, you know, having to fight this fight all the time. I don't want that. I don't want that to be the rest of my life. Is exhausting. I went to bed with the thought, I don't know who's winning this battle. I can't tell. I can't tell who's winning this battle. It just feels like it just feels like we're in the ring and we're fighting, and nobody knows who's winning. You can't tell. It feels like an unnecessary fight. I don't know why we're fighting. Why is humanity fighting? Why are we hurting each other? Why are we hurting our planet? Why are we sabotaging ourselves, dooming ourselves to hell and suffering? Why are we sabotaging our planet? Why are we destroying what is ours? Our gift, our light, our birthright, you know, our treasure. I don't understand it. I don't see it as necessary. I don't get it. I don't know why we have to experience or go through this experience in order to see the light, in order to come to the understanding that this planet is a gift and a treasure that we shouldn't destroy. Humanity is a gift. We're a gift to each other, and we shouldn't try to fight and destroy each other. You know, we all have difference of perspective and opinions, and it doesn't mean that we have to be a-holes about it and treat each other like shit for our different perspectives and opinions. Why can't we respect one another and respect each other's opinions and respect each other's differences? Why are there some people that are so hell-bent on pulling other people down instead of pulling themselves up? Use that energy to pull yourself up instead of trying to pull other people down. I don't understand it. I don't understand humanity, really. I don't understand our design, you know. And last night, I saw something that triggered 3 thoughts. One, I can't tell who's winning because of all the different bits and pieces of information that came out yesterday. It's hard to tell who's winning. It feels like a David versus Goliath story, but it's really, really hard. I can't tell who's winning. It just looks like we're fighting, but I don't know who's winning. The second thought is, again, I felt like, God, do I have to share this planet with these people? Frig, you know? Sometimes you see things and you see an energy that makes you think, I just simply don't belong here. I don't want to share this planet with these a-hole people, you know? And then the third thought is, I got to get the fuck out of this country. That's where the thought came from. Let me tell you what the video is that I watched. It was the last thing I watched before leaving this room last night when I was wrapping up my work in this room. And I saw this video. It's a daily show, the Daily Show segment with Desi Liddick. I'm going to flip the screen so I can show you. But Desi Liddick, Desi blonde-haired comedian. She's very funny. You know, Daily Show has been cycling different comedian hosts these days. When since Trevor Noah left, they decided to change the way they do it, and they have been cycling through different comedian hosts, including Jon Stewart. I think Jon Stewart does Mondays, and then they cycle through different hosts. So this one was a segment with Desi Liddick, the blonde comedian. She's funny, and the title of the video was Horny Anti-Woke GOP Defends Sydney Sweeney Amid Denim Ad Backlash. And apparently there's some backlash between this actress who did like a really, really sexy ad for American Eagle jeans, I think it is. And yeah, so some controversial denim ad that apparently got the liberals talking, that, you know, like it is like, you know, something to do with it is a case or represented. I don't know what the right word is, but it is like signaling white supremacy or something like that. You know, I don't know if that was what their intention was with their ad, but it gave that kind of white supremacy kind of vibe, something to do with her blue eyes and blue jeans. I don't know. But it sparked some controversial, and it got like liberals in a tizzy or something. So it's said in this segment, and people are talking about it. And what these GOP networks decide that they're going to do is to attack liberals for having an opinion, and they're going to argue for make a lot of anti-woke arguments, and talk about, just be completely disrespectful of people's opinions, you know, and argue for, saying stupid shit in this segment. Then she showed clips of people saying stupid shit like liberals don't like sexy people and we're not gonna do that anymore. And it sounded so stupid. I mean, when I watched the clips that she showed, that people from these right-wing GOP networks, the things that were coming out of their mouth, the stupidity, and once again, the rage machine, because that's what they constantly do. They find things to get people all worked up about. They don't say things like, okay, this is a difference of opinion. We see things differently. Let's just respect each other's opinions. No, they attack you. They attack liberals. They have created this spirit and this energy of liberal tears. As long as it bothers liberals and it makes them upset, this is a good thing. No matter what it is, as long as it's anti-liberal, anti-woke, then it makes me happy, and I'm going to argue for it. I'm going to fight for it. Even if I have to switch my position from what I said before, even if I have to be a hypocrite and shameless, as long as it upsets liberals, I am for it. And then these networks continually harness the energy of outrage, harness the energy of anti-liberalism, or division, anti-woke. I am against you. So everything that is that you are against, I'm against. And the whole problem with that is that the things that liberals are against are the things that hurt humanity in the long run. Liberals are against hurting one another. And the thing is that, yes, it seems it could come off as though, liberals take it too far, and I feel as though you'd be walking on eggshells and you have to be politically correct and all that kind of stuff. That's what, the mindset of people. They think that, liberals make the world uncomfortable because you gotta be politically correct, you gotta say things the right way, you gotta get it right and all that. I don't know what's that all about, if that's the truth or not, But the thing is that they got to the point, they created such an energy where you have to be so anti-woke, anti-liberal, right? That you had to go so far. You wanted to be so far away from being woke and so far away from being liberal that you have gone all the way to the end of authoritarianism, fascism, and upside down world where right is wrong. I mean, and dark is light, and the complete opposite of what being a good person is. It's such a freaking upside down world now. And it made me think those three things. Let me just recap those three thoughts I went to bed with. I got to get the fuck out of here, America, because this energy is, I can't, to live in this dome of abuse, because that's what it is to me. America has always, I have found that way since I started to pay attention. I realized how badly abused Americans are, like this. And part of me doesn't want to leave to a certain extent, because I feel like somebody who is leaving, like I'm leaving my children with you. Not that Americans are my children, but that kind of energy where you are leaving as a mom, you're leaving your abuser, you're leaving your abuser husband, but you're leaving your kids with the abuser husband. I feel as though I'm a light worker and a light energy and a love energy and an empathic energy and an INFJ energy with INFJ capabilities of connecting dots and seeing things, seeing the bigger picture. I have superpowers, which I'm still honing. Unfortunately, I wish I was already set in my superpowers, but I'm still honing my superpowers and my skills. But I have superpowers that can help, but at the same time, so part of me is like, I don't want to leave this abusive situation. I'm here too, so I'm being abused also, but I don't want to leave this abusive situation and leave the children with the abuser. And that's how I see Americans. I see Americans with this immaturity, this immature way of thinking, that are under this abusive in environment, like living in this abusive environment and not knowing how badly they're being abused. I think that the only thing that could save an American is an American that travels and go and see the world and see the world beyond this abusive dome of capitalism and entertainment and distraction and the mindset that has been created here that I never realized. I never realized how bad it was until my eyes was open, until that horrible person came into the purview, came into my purview and opened my eyes and caused me to become woke, not anti-woke, woke, to wake up and to see. Because that to me is what woke really is to open your eyes, have the veil removed from over your eyes, and to see things as they truly are, to see that the emperor is wearing no clothes, to see that capitalism in under this manner is bullshit, to see that the system, the American system, is broken and always have been. It was never built as a democracy. You know, it was a disguise. It was wearing a democracy disguise, you know. To see that money in politics is what really, really did damage, to see that the Supreme Court and the judicial system is not upholding the law no anymore. It has been captured by agenda-driven people that are clearing the path to domination and power and authoritarianism and fascism and I don't know, a system that does not, that works for the minority, the 1%, the wealthy and the white, right? My eyes have been open and I realize how abused and how horrible, how horribly abusive this country is to people. And I went to bed thinking, I wish I could teleport myself out of this place. I just wish I could instantly just snap my finger like a genie and my favorite things would come with me. Not everything, but some of my favorite things that I don't want to leave behind, that I wish I could take with me to my next home. And the home is already set up, and I would live in my home, the home of my dreams, a modern, eco-friendly home, spacious, modern, eco-friendly home with a nice garden and well-lit house, lots of windows, solar panels, like totally modern with modern technology that is good for the planet, that and to live a life that is, like I said, modern, good for the planet, works in harmony with the planet. And I could spend my days learning how to live in that home, learning how to garden, learning how to keep bees and make my own honey, and living well, you know, living the life that kind of is represented in with Megan with Love, or whatever the show is on Netflix, you know, a Duchess of Sussex, that kind of energy, living that kind of life, hosting friends, having lunch and dinner with friends, having friends over, making charcuterie boards, making crafts, enjoying life, you know, and living life to the fullest. That's my dream. That's what I want. I wish I could just snap my finger and make the changes that I want to make instantly instead of having to work towards it slowly, you know. As I've said, 2025, I'm on a quest because I want 2025 to be the bridge between the past and the future. And I don't want to experience a year like this ever again. I want, by the time I hit 2026, I am home, wherever that is. I am at home with myself, and I'm at home in my physical space. You know, that's what I want. I am working towards loving my body, getting it to where I want it to be, developing some practices, building my platform, finding my voice, figuring out my energy, creating something, building something. And I'm working really, really hard at it. August is my birthday month, and I am heading towards 43. And I want 2025 to be a bridge because I am so sick and tired of this season, and I want it to be over. I want it to be done. So I'm going to flip my screen now, and I can show you some of the things that I collected and some of the things I want to talk about, because I collected so much information that it made me decide that I have to do a video on a Saturday morning, even though I didn't want to, even though I just wanted to get up and chill. But again, like I said, 2025 just does not feel like a year of chill. It feels like I'm working, I'm climbing to the mountain, trying to get to the top, working towards or I'm on the bridge, still on that friggin' bridge that I thought that I would have been off of, by January this year. I thought we would have been off the fucking bridge. But no, we got to the end. We got to November, realized there was more friggin' bridge. To realize that we weren't to the end of the bridge. The bridge carried on. We were walking through the fog. We were walking through the fog so we couldn't see anything. So we thought that we were coming to the end of the bridge. And only to realize when the fog cleared that there was still more bridge. Actually, not only is there still more bridge, but the bridge going this way. The bridge going this way. So you're climbing. The bridge going higher. But I don't want another year like this. I want 2025 to be the last year I ever experienced like this. And that's why I'm documenting. I'm documenting this story and this journey. But I don't want ever have a summer like this again. I don't want ever experience a year like this again. I hope by the end of 2025, we don't recognize where we ended up. That we end up someplace so completely different that we don't even recognize it anymore. So I'm going to flip the screen and talk about some things. And thank you for listening to my beginning part of the video. Thank you for watching. Right, so I'm in my watch history right now, and I wanted to show you, this is a video I'm talking about, Horny anti-woke GOP defends Sydney Sweeney amid denim ad backlash, The Daily Show. And, the comedian that hosted the show, Desi lit it. She was funny. Her segment was funny. But it wasn't funny what these a-holes were saying. The energy that they create is just horrible. And I just can't believe that people would say these kind of shitty things on their show. And they do these things every night. Every night they just create this egregore, this energy of outrage and hypocrisy and shamelessness and just awful energy that they create night after night after night. They put themselves out there, and that's why, even though it is not in my nature, I would have rather have a quiet life, to be honest. The reason I continue to try to make these videos is because if I feel like people that have light in them, people that have a different kind of energy in the way they speak and the things that they put out, should put out positive things, because you gotta really try to drown these people out. I don't know how long that's gonna take. I don't know how it is possible, but it would be so nice to drown these kind of people out. People that create that energy day and night and day after day and night after night. So anyway, I did a TikTok video that I posted. I posted a video on TikTok, and within that video, I was talking about how I wasn't interested in duality. And then I saw this video, because one of the things that I found about myself is that even though I'm not in, I feel like I find duality to be exhausting, the yin and the yang, the dark and the light, the contrast. And I keep constantly saying I could do without the contrast. I just really want just be a light in the light. I don't need to stand out. I don't want to contrast with anything. I don't want to have that constant fight and that battle for, but duality really is supposed to be harmony. It's not really a fight. It's just the harmony between the dark and the light, and how it balances each other out. And because of it, you're able to experience the other thing so much better. Like, you experience joy so much more when you know what it is to experience pain and suffering, when you know what it is to cry tears and experience grief and all that. Then when you are experiencing joy, you appreciate it so much more. So, it seems as though the contrast is necessary, even though I hate it. And anyway, I watched this video here with he, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. And what made me want to click it was I was curiosity, obviously, what the last digit of your birth year says about your soul. And the last digit of my birth year is 2. I was born in 1982. So what he said is that some people that were born in 2 has to learn how to deal with the duality, which I found to be very interesting that he was talking about that. As I had just said that I'm not interested in the duality, and here he is having a video that's saying that I have to learn as somebody whose birth year ends in 2, I have to learn the harmony and the balance between the duality, between the light and the dark, because I am a kind of, I can't paraphrasing because I can't remember the exact words, but I'm a bridge between the physical and the spiritual, which I've felt. I felt that pull. I felt that, you know, not too high in the sky, not too far away from the physical. I felt like I walk in both worlds, both the physical and the spiritual, and that is what I try to create with these videos, discussing both the physical and the spiritual, and learning how to find that harmony and balance and the connection, which is something that I have to practice doing. It doesn't come easy. It doesn't come easy. It's very hard. It's very exhausting. Last night I watched some shorts before we went to bed, and some of them was just awful. Like, Trump rewrites history. This is from Politics Girl, and it was talking about him ordering the Smithsonian, apparently, to remove his name from their display about impeached presidents, and the Smithsonian obeyed and took out his name as one of the presidents who've been impeached. So basically trying to write his name out of history as an impeached president. And that's some horrible, horrible shit. This one here was awful. This one here was talking about the fact that PBS is shutting down because of the defunding of PBS. I didn't actually think that was going to happen. I didn't actually think that they were just going to give up like that and be shutting down. I didn't read the article, but this is a story short about the articles written about PBS going to shut down. PBS was here a staple in this country, I believe. Public broadcasting. What does the S stand for? PBS. Public Broadcasting Service. PBS can stand for Public Broadcasting Service. It's a nonprofit American media organization that distributes educational and cultural programming to its member stations, which is independently operated. And I had no idea that PBS relies so heavily on government funding. I just feel like shutting down just like that just feels like a cop-out. Just come up with different ideas. I don't know everything, and I don't know the reason why people do the things that they do or decide to do the things that they do, And when I share things here, I'm scratching the surface. I am sharing what has been shared to me, because one of the things I realize is that as we are in the information age, there is so much information that comes at you on a daily basis that you have to take everything with a grain of salt. There's certain things you might want to go dig deeper into, but to really get your information straight, get your facts straight, to get your understanding straight, but you got to take things with the understanding that you don't know the whole story. You don't know all of it. You don't know the parts that you don't know. That's the truth. And what are the decisions that go behind what are the decisions behind the decisions being made? But PBS was around for a very long time, and apparently PBS is shutting down. PBS, the home of Sesame Street. That was what would show up at the end of Sesame Street. We used to watch Sesame Street in Barbados, and this is a public broadcasting. It would have the PBS thing that come up at the end, if I remember correctly. These 2 videos here is about how these people are destroying the economy, how bad it's gonna get. This one is about the fact that they were, how to say, messing with numbers, the job numbers and all kind of stuff. They were lying basically, and they got caught. This is what it says. You know, they got caught lying and with the jobs report and that kind of stuff. And this is talking about how bad it's gonna get. How it's gonna get really bad. The economy is gonna get really bad. And let me just go to the section, to my photos, where these are the stuff that I screenshot. Let me see if I could go make sense of certain things. So this is the thing that I was talking about with the ad. NBC News, Sydney Sweeney's ad campaign for American Eagle has sparked backlash for touting the actress' great genes. Many online have accused the brand of promoting eugenics, while others praise the campaign as a blow to wokeness. So, you know, they're fighting. The people are fighting again. Always finding a reason to fight. There's always a frigging reason to fight. The fighting goes on and on. This is one I screenshot from this, Trump rewrites history. Smithsonian removes reference to Trump's impeachments from presidency's exhibit. What we got? Oh, this one. Ghislaine Maxwell, the longtime associate to Jeffrey Epstein, who is serving a 20-year prison sentence for sexually exploiting and abusing teenage girls, has been moved from a federal prison in Florida to a minimum security prison camp in Texas, her lawyer said on Friday. Ghislaine Maxwell moved to minimum security prison after questioning on Epstein. So basically what was happening is that Trump is, trying to get her to shut up, to not talk, and there's rumors that he's planning on giving her a pardon and letting her out of prison. And, they moved her, or she has been moved from a maximum security prison to a minimum security prison, from what I understand here. I don't know if she was in a maximum security prison, but she's now moved to a minimum security prison in Texas. So she moved from Florida to Texas. Here's the thing about the Smithsonian. The Smithsonian's National Museum of American History removed reference to President Trump's 2 impeachment proceedings from an exhibit on limits of presidential power. A Smithsonian spokesperson confirmed to ABC News. The spokesperson said a future exhibit will include all presidential impeachments. The museum decided to restore the section of permanent exhibition to its 2008 appearance because various topics had not been updated since that year, and therefore they removed reference to Trump, the Smithsonian spokesperson told ABC News on Thursday. Trump is the only U.S. president to have been impeached twice. So I do believe that there's always more to a story than we know. So it is good not to overreact about things. We are going through a process right now. We are going through a process, and people are trying to figure out themselves. People are trying to figure out themselves in this new world, and they have to find their backbone. They have to find their courage. They have to find their voice. Sometimes it takes a little longer to do that. I just think that when people have issues with things, they need to let these places know, let these organizations and these different places know that they have issues. When they need to speak out, people need to speak out, and not just roll over and lay down and take all the changes and say, okay, we're going to accept this. We're going to accept, lying and corruption and dishonesty, and we're going to accept this. You got to really, really push back and fight and help people to find their courage and their backbone. People find their courage when they know that they're not alone. When they feel alone, they might choose not to be courageous in order to survive. So this is a bad one. President Trump fires Bureau of Labor Statistics Commissioner after weak jobs report. So the jobs report was awful, and he didn't like the jobs report, so he fired the Bureau of Labor Statistics Commissioner. And I think I have her picture somewhere. Where is it? There you go. Guess how Trump responded by firing the Bureau of Labor of Statistics Commissioner Erica McAtaffer, claiming without evidence that she rigged the data to make the Republicans and me look bad. The energy that this man creates is just horrible. The Labor Department released devastating, I think that this slide came before the previous one I just showed. The Labor Department released a devastating jobs report, finding the U.S. employers only added 73,000 jobs in July amid Trump's sweeping tariffs, his immigration crackdown, and widespread federal layoffs. Amid Trump's tariffs, his immigration crackdown, and widespread federal layoffs. Even worse, there were 258,000 fewer jobs added in May and June than previously believed. That's what, you remember how he said, somebody said that they were lying. They lied. They were dishonest about the previous reports. The unemployment rate also rose 4.1% to 4.2%. And then this is probably the next slide. Guess how he responded? He fired by firing the Bureau of Labor Statistics Commissioner. I copied these slides, but I ain't got them in the right order here. I don't have anything in the right order, so I just randomly clicking on things. Okay, so I think this was slide 1. Or this might be even a different reporting. Anyway, Trump was so unhappy with his own job numbers that he fired the official in charge of reporting them. Classic Trump. Blame everyone but himself. The U.S. posted the worst jobs report since 2020. So Trump fired the head of the labor statistics. He basically claimed the data was rigged. So this is who he's been and always been. Every time, October 2016, Hillary Clinton said this. This was the debate in the election that he ran against Hillary Clinton. Every time Donald Trump thinks things are not going his direction, he claims whatever it is rigged against him. People don't pay attention to the patterns. It's just amazing to us that this emperor showed us who he was, and people did not believe him. So these are the ground news summaries. The ground news summaries. U.S. added just 73,000 jobs in July, and numbers for prior months were revised much lower. And 37% left, 45% center, 18% right-leaning. Media outlets reported it, and this is from 197 sources. United States jobs growth slowed unexpectedly in July, with non-farm payrolls increasing by only 73,000 jobs. The unemployment rate rose 4.2% in July and up from 4.1% in June. Revisions to prior months' data eliminated 258,000 jobs from the May and June payrolls. In other words, they were dishonest about the previous reports. And I said that in the video that I did yesterday, is that Heather Cox Richardson, she said that these numbers may not be reliable these days because he is hiring and putting lawyers in place. So people aren't going to get accurate information anymore. The chaos and the dishonesty and the chaos and the corruption he's created is just crazy. The Labor Department indicated that uncertainty over President Donald Trump's trade policies is affecting companies. Trump fires Bureau of Labor Statistics head hours after weak jobs report. This is a ground summary. On August 1st, 2025, President Donald Trump directed his team to fire Dr. Erica McAtaffer, the Biden-appointed Bureau of Labor Statistics Commissioner, following a disappointing jobs report. Trump sought McAtaffer's dismissal due to the revised July report showing up 73,000 jobs added, and a combination of showing only 73,000 jobs added and a combined 250,000 job reduction for May and June. The report revealed slower hiring in July and a weaker job and weaker job gains in May and June, with with the unemployment rate rising slightly from 4.1% to 4.2%. Trump said, "We need accurate job numbers, called the figures manipulated for political reasons, and labeled the Fed Chair Jerome Powell as too late Powell, who should who should be out to pasture." The firing highlights heightened political tensions over economic data accuracy and could affect market stability amid concerns about potential manipulation of job statistics. This is the worst person to put as the leader of this country. It was a real big mistake for him to even have been ever had the ability to enter politics and take over a party and turn that party into a full blown open cult, and then trying to shift the country and the world into his image. And his image is awful. It's going to be chaotic, it's going to be destructive, it's going to be corrupt, it's going to be violent. It is. And he's trying to he's trying to shift the entire world in his image. And oh my gosh, this person, but back to what I was saying, Americans are and have been abused for a long time, and they just didn't know it. They just didn't know that they were in an abusive relationship with the people who control this country. They control the narrative, control the media, control the corporations, control the food, control the medicine, control the everything, And as all in the spiritual community has said, the old structure had to crumble because, it wasn't sustainable, and then people, it could not continue in the way that it was. People had to wake up. People's eyes have to be open, and they have to build something new, create something new. I don't know what this is about, but Trump orders nuclear submarines near Russia after Medvedev Medvedev's warning. Donald Trump has ordered 2 nuclear submarines to be positioned in certain regions in response to the provocative statements by Dmitry Medvedev, the former president of Russia and current deputy chairman of the Security Council of the Russian Federation. Medvedev had warned the U.S. president to remember that Moscow had Soviet-era nuclear strike capabilities. Trump stated that words are very important and can often lead to unintended consequences, and expressed hope that that would not be one of those instances. And this was from 428 sources, and it is reported 29% left by 29% left media, for 40% center media, and 31% right-leaning media. This is a screenshot I took in regards to the little short that I watched from Jess Craven 101. She teaches about politics and talks about a lot of political stuff to inform people. And here it says she was discussing how PBS is shutting down. So this clip I particularly took is when she was showing the article, one of the articles behind her. Corporation for Public Broadcasting will shut down. The company is among the first casualties of a vote to strip roughly $500 million in federal funding from NPR, PBS, and local stations, the country around. I don't know what that word behind her is, but I assume it's around or something, around the country. And I just screenshot some of the comments that was right underneath. This is heartbreaking. I am sad, but also furious. Never thought I would see this happen in my lifetime. He makes me sick. Not only did I grow up with NPR and PBS, but my son did also. This sucks. This is just the dumbing down of America. Just screenshot some of the comments underneath. Pete Buttigieg. The president sees a bad a bad jobs report and responds by getting rid of the person in charge of the statistics. This is how America becomes a third-rate country. And here is two posts I highlighted. Robert Reich. Robert Reich says, "Don't like the numbers, just fire the person responsible for gathering them. Trump's doing what every tyrannical regime has always done, wiping out the truth and replacing it with lies." And this is just somebody I follow on YouTube. Boomer. "The great Trump economy has arrived, folks. Yippee! The worst job growth numbers since the Great Recession. Sans 2020 COVID year. Yikes." I am going to tell you once again that none of this surprises me. It shouldn't surprise anybody. But anyway, another post from Robert Reich. "Job growth is slowing to levels not seen since the pandemic. Inflation is up as more tariffs hit. Meanwhile, Trump is opening new golf courses, planning for a $200 million White House ballroom, and diverting taxpayer dollars to renovate his free jet from Qatar. New golden age." I really wish I could just check out of this timeline and switch to the better timeline. Democracy Now! "At least 2 more Palestinians starved to death in Gaza. Palestinian officials in Gaza report Israeli attacks have killed at least 17 people so far today, including 7 people seeking aid near a distribution point south of Khan Yunis. The attack came as medics said at least 2 more Palestinians have died of starvation over the past 24 hours, as the trickle of aid entering Gaza fails to meet the needs of more than 2 million people." There's a quote here. "Trump is forcing the Smithsonian to remove any factual but unflattering mentions of him from all displays, and they're doing it. It's hard to say which is worse, the tyranny or the obedience." That's the truth. That's kind of like why I said I can't tell who's winning. So anyway, so I also like screenshot this one. This is a thing that I did not watch, but I just sometimes these little clickbait titles is just drive me crazy. "Destined to lose?" ? Kamala planning 2028 run. And these videos, right? Where this woman didn't even say that she planning to run just because she decided that she's not running for governor. Some people, mostly white males to be honest, put out this kind of energy. They're videos with this kind of energy. Whereas black people, on the other hand, and women put out the energy of excitement, because women and black people know how destined this woman is to lead the country into healing and to fix the system. But like she said, she's not interested in going back into the system because the system is broken. So she's going to go around the country promoting her book, which is 107 Days, the name of the book. I cannot wait to read it. I cannot wait to read it. I cannot wait to read it. 107 Days. And one of the things I thought was really interesting too is that, like I said, I was working on this project. I am working on this project of getting all videos and stuff like that off my Google Photos and putting them in an external hard drive so I can stop paying for that storage. And I titled a folder 100 Days to Kamala. I wrote 100 poems as we were counting down to this election, and I'm going to put it in a poetry book, and I'm going to call it 100 Days to Kamala. And I thought it was really interesting that the title of her book is 107 Days. I can't wait to read her book, and I'm hoping that Biden is writing one too, because I want to read his book too. The book that Biden is probably writing is probably the last book that he's probably ever going to write in his life. And it better be the best book, the most honest, and I can't wait to buy it. But yeah, I can't wait to read her book, 107 Days. So she said on Late Night with Stephen Colbert that she doesn't want to go back into the system because the system is broken, And I was trying to see if I could find somewhere the full quote. I didn't watch the interview yet. I've been planning to, but I didn't watch it yet. I didn't get a chance. I'm busy. So much things are happening, and I'm trying to record these videos. And again, I don't know who the frig I'm recording these videos for or why, but I just feel called to anyway. So I put the quote, the words that I know from the quote, and this is what the AI said. Speaking about her decision to not run for California governor, former Vice President Kamala Harris said in a recent interview that she has decided for now to not to go back into the political system, which she believes is broken. She elaborated that while she once believed the country's systems were strong enough to defend core democratic principles, she doesn't believe that's currently the case. Instead of campaigning, Harris expressed a desire to travel the country, listen to the people, and talk with them, but not in a transactional way where she is asking for their vote. She indicated a commitment to maintaining part of the fight for her beliefs despite stepping back from immediate electoral pursuits. This statement was made in context to her not seeking the California governorship, despite leading in early polls and coming off her run for president. Harris' comments sparked discussion, with some acknowledging the courage it takes to voice such concerns, while others question her ability to affect change from the outside of the system, given her previous high-profile positions. Well, here's what I say to this. I say that she's doing the right thing. I say that I trust Kamala Harris. I say that this woman is a very intelligent woman. I trust her instincts and her intuition. I believe that she, just like everybody else, is having to navigate the new world and the new system that was a shock to the system for all of us, because we didn't expect things to happen the way that they happen, and I think that going and just talking to people without being transactional is absolutely perfect. I'm glad she wrote the book. I'm glad she's going to promote her book, and and let the destroyers destroy what they're going to destroy. In terms of the PBS, PBS relied on the government. Well, if it's a public broadcasting service, then it needed to get back to relying on the public, not the fucking government. And I don't know the whole story. I don't know the whole story about anything. All it is scratching the surface of things. So I just look at things with an open mind and an open heart, and I'm listening. I'm listening and learning and developing an understanding, you know. But I'm thinking that this system has to fall. It's horrible, but it has to fall. It has to crumble. It has to be destroyed. And if the destroyers have to destroy it, then if that's what they're gonna do, let them destroy it, you know. And I say stand up for what's right. I say don't just let them destroy it without speaking up for truth and what's right and decency and coming up with creative ways to outsmart them and outwit them and create something new. But let them destroy this old freaking system that benefited them anyway. Because in the process of destroying the system that they benefited from, they will be destroying themselves and each other. And they won't win. They won't win. Even though I say it's hard to tell who's winning, I know who's going to win in the end. And what's going to win in the end is love and light and truth and decency, because that is a solid foundation. The foundation of lies and the energy of lies and deception and violence and cruelty and all these things that these people creating, the anger, attainment that they do, the energy of anger and frustration and all this stuff that they're creating, that has a shelf life and a limit. And it's only so far that that's going to take them. And it will come to an end, And Marjorie Taylor Greene is an enigma sometimes, but she has a quote here: "Are Israeli lives more valuable than Palestinian and Christian lives? Why are we funding this?" That was shared by, somewhere along the lines, people that were enemies and against each other are going to meet in the middle and realize what they really need to be against. I don't know how long this process is going to take, but somewhere along the lines. Marjorie Taylor Greene calls Gaza humanitarian crisis genocide. And I am Letitia. I am an observer. I am a light worker. I am love. I am light. I am truth. I am decency. I am empathy. I am kindness. I am learning. I am growing. I'm becoming. I'm observing. I'm navigating. I will win. And this is August. And as far as I'm concerned, August is abundant August for me. I don't care what they fucking do with the economy. I don't care what they do. I don't care all these things that crumble around me. I will stand. I will stand strong and I will win. We will win. You know, we just gotta keep the faith and trust the divine timing, and trust that we are where we're supposed to be, and trust that we are doing what we're supposed to be doing. Whatever it is that we're doing at this time is what we're supposed to be doing. It's a journey that we're on, you know. So keep the faith and keep going. Thank you for watching.